Alright guys, today we are going to look into Uchat and Calendly integration. Thanks to Mark, he has already built a wonderful system where we can actually check automatically if someone has made an appointment or not. So this is more for a beginner because it took me a while to figure out things, so I thought this would be helpful for someone in a similar situation as mine. So let's get started with it. So we have one flow where people can come in and make a booking using Calendly. So you just need to have a free Calendly account, and it has to be integrated with your Uchat. You can use it. You can go to your workspace and then go to your dashboard and then go to Calendly, and you can just integrate from here. Once integrated, when you have a button, and if you go to your button, when this button is pressed, what happens? You can select Calendly from here. Once you select Calendly, if it is integrated correctly, it will show you your event types, and you can select your event and click save. So whenever someone clicks this button, they will be taken to that event and they can make a booking, right? So when that happens, the next step is sending them to another subflow to check Calendly appointments. So that is the important one. This is what Mark actually built for us. So let me try to explain it a little bit on a easier terms, as if you haven't seen it before. Alright, so I'll just give you an overview of how this works, and then we will go into each of the steps in detail. So here, we start this flow, and the first thing that it checks is that if a user has a tag, Calendly booked appointment tag. So if everything went well and they really booked an appointment and we found that appointment, at the end of this step we will add a tag, Calendly booked an appointment tag. So if they already booked, they probably will have this tag already, so we wouldn't take them through the whole steps. We just send them here saying that, oh, we found your details and you don't need to book again. If you want to book again, you can do it, and all that stuff. So ideally the new user wouldn't have this tag, so this condition block will become false. So if they have a tag, this goes through this path. If they don't have that tag, it goes through this path, right? So ideally they will go through this path. So then we have a counter here. We need to create a custom field called Calendly appointment check counter, or whatever name you want to give. And this you will understand when we explain the next step and the next, right? So initially we set this Calendly appointment check counter, and the value would be 0, and in this step it checks for a condition if this counter is greater than or equal to 4. Why 4? That will also be explained in the next step. Okay, so let's go to the next step. So in the next step, what we have is another action block with a smart delay, and here the smart delay is for 30 seconds. And when the user are sitting here waiting for 30 seconds, what happens is that this custom field gets incremented by 1. So here we go to this custom field value, set a variable value, and we select this custom field appointment check counter, and we use a math formula to add +1. So what happens that whenever a user comes to this block, their counter value gets incremented by 1. So initially it was 0 in this step. As soon as they enter here, the value becomes 1, and it waits for 30 seconds, and then it goes to the next step. And this next step is it's using a Calendly integration within an action step, and in this action step, if you integrated integrations, Calendly, and then go here to get current user. The current user is yourself. The Calendly account belongs to who? That's what we are trying to check. So when you test request, you will get all these details, this current organization and the user value. We need these two values for a reason which will be explained at the next step. So we have to create a two custom field called Calendly organization URL and Calendly user URL. Once that's done, we go to the next step where we check for the actual event, scheduled event. So we use the value that we got from the previous step in the organization and the user, and we look for the user's email within these values, right? And then we check for this email ID present in this account. So when we check it, we can do the test request. To do the test, you need to have values here which you can get from the previous step. So you can see here you have all these values available, but we are interested in a few of them, such as the pagination count and the collection name, start time, the URL, and location of the collection, right? But out of that, the most important one is this pagination count. Why is that? If you have an event, if you find an event, the pagination count will become 1, 2, or something like that. But if you do not find an event, if you're looking for a person's email and then you're searching for the event, if there is no booking done, the pagination count will be 0. If you have a booking, the count will not be 0. It could be 1, 2, whatever. At least it will be 1. So that's why we need this value saved to Calendly event count. Right. You will understand this in the next step. So in the next step, we have a condition log checking the very thing, if what is the value of Calendly event count. So if the Calendly event count value is equal to 0, which means that you did not find an event, it goes through this path, or else it goes through this path. So this path means that you have found an event. Let's see what happens if you find an event. If you find an event, you go here and then you try to find the details of the event and the event inviting. In order to get that, you need event UUID, which we have already saved to this URL, this custom field in the previous step. So that's why getting this value is also important. So when you have that, you can send a test request and then you get all these values. Why these values are important? This is where you get the cancellation URL or rescheduling URL and things like that. So if you want to give your user the opportunity to cancel it or to reschedule it, you need these URLs, and then you can save these URLs to these custom fields. Right. So once you get those details, you can say that, okay, we found your appointment and these are the details we found. You can use these links to reschedule or cancel your booking. And at the end, since we have an appointment booking, we give them a tag saying that booked appointment, right? So that's the case when you find an appointment. If you do not find an appointment, what happens is that we go through this path because the Calendly event count is still 0. We didn't find any event, so it goes to the first step, it goes all the way back to this step. Since the user did not have, since you did not find an event, they don't have this tag, and it goes to this counter. The value was 1 because we incremented it already, so it comes and checks Calendly value is 1 greater than or equal to 4, which is false, so it goes back to the false path and waits for 30 seconds, and the value gets incremented by 1. So now the value is 2, value of the counter is 2, and does that, goes through all the steps. And what happens is that this thing runs 4 times, and which means that 30 seconds into 4, which means it runs for like 2 minutes. And if you don't find any booking within this 2 minutes, it goes to this path, because right after 2 minutes the counter value would be 4, because it came at 0 initially, then it ran for 30 seconds and became 1, and it continues, and after 2 minutes it will become 4, and the Calendly appointment counter becomes 4 greater than or equal to 4, and this condition becomes true, and then this runs to this block, and in this block you ask a question. Looks like we have a difficulty in finding your appointment. Have you really booked yet? If they haven't booked yet, they can click here and book again. Or if there is an error in email address or something, they probably booked, but we were looking for a certain email, but they booked with another email and we couldn't find it. In that case, they click here and then they go through this path. Let's see what happens if they did not book and they click book again. So they click book now, so the next path gets activated. Since their counter is already 4, we don't want them to go back straight away and get this wrong message. So we reset the counter using this action step, and then we send them back to the first step again. They booked, and then reset the counter, and then they go back to the first step again. So in the first step, they check if they have tag, no tag, so they went to the counter is 0, which is false, so it goes here, and the whole thing repeats for another 2 minutes or until an event is found. So now what happens if they already booked under a different email? So they said that, okay, I did book, so then they take you to this message saying that, okay, thank you for confirming, what email did you book with? And that value gets saved in this email, and we do the same thing. We check for the current user, which is your details, and then schedule events with this new email. And if they can find a Calendly event count which is not equal to 1, which means that we have found the event, and they get all the confirmation details. If they still did not find the event, we send them this message saying that, oh, we are sorry, I think we need an extra bit of help, and then we pause the automation and get help from the live agent. You send this notification to the live agent, and live agent comes in to sort out the issue. So that's an overview of this Calendly Uchat setup. So you need to create this tag, you need to create this custom field, and you need to create these custom fields, and these custom fields to store these values, and another custom field to store the event count. And here you need to store the cancellation and reschedule links to these custom fields. So I think that's helpful for you. Thank you so much.